try to learn the seasons that your friends are in. And if you don't know what those seasons look like, ask. You know, what does it look like when you're sad? Like, how do you handle, being sad or going through a season of coldness? And what does it look like when you're winning? What do you like to do to win? How do you like to celebrate? Different things like that. Just like we would get to know a partner, we're asking all of these questions at the beginning. Like we're getting to know folks for real because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation we don't want to be in. But I think with our friendships, we should be a little bit more open to discussing our feelings and how we handle situations before the situations come.
Phenomenons. Colding.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to Life's Deceit with me, your girl, Jen Simpson. How are you guys doing? How's your week going? How's your morning? How's your afternoon? How's your night? Wherever you are in the world, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my new subscribers. Thank you guys for all the comments that you've been leaving. I am finally at 31,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing, for tuning into my videos, liking, and comment. Before we get into this video and before you hit exit, please hit the subscribe button. Leave me a little comment, like the video, and don't forget to share. Guys, today we have a special guest, and I'm excited to share her with you guys. Her name is Samantha D. Liberal. She is a pure friendship coach. She's a friendship coach. On Instagram, her page is Pure Friendship. She is a friendship coach. Yeah, guys, I said that right. Friendship coach. I know we hear about relationship coach. We hear about mental health coach. We hear about transformational coaches. We hear about inspirational coaches. But have you ever heard of a friendship coach? I have never heard of a friendship coach. She is the first one that I've ever encountered. And I'm excited to get into this conversation with her today because friendship is very important and is very powerful. The first thing we get when we go to school, you start kindergarten, is a friend. You're seeking out who you want to be friends with. I want to be friends with her. I want to be friends with her. You don't even know why you want to be friends with that person half the time, but you just know you want to build a friendship. But coaching on friendship is so needed in this season and space right now because we have all mishandled friendships that we could have handled better. We've all mishandled our friendship relationships. We've broken up with friends that we could have, had a communication, had an effective communication with them, and that probably could have cleared up a lot of stuff and wouldn't have been broken up. We have to learn how to pray over our friendships and allow God into the friendship to teach us how to handle them correctly because we absolutely don't know how. Because 90% of us, if not more, were never taught how to have good friendships, healthy friendships, reconnecting, breaking up, having, real conversations and being honest with each other about the things that we do like and we don't like. Have we ever really sat with our friends and say, well, this is my expectations in our relationships? Nope, none of us have. I've never done it. And as I get older and I'm diving more into my purpose, I've become more intentional about the relationships that I'm forming. And I've also learned how to call my friend on the phone and be like, you know what? You're right. I have been avoiding you. Something has been on my heart to say to you, and I don't know how to say it. Let's meet up. And Samantha D. Liberal, God gave her a tremendous purpose in calling on her life to be a friendship coach and to teach us how to be great friends. Be the friends that we want for ourselves. We got to give it to receive it. So, guys, without further ado, let's welcome Samantha D. Liberal, the friendship coach, the amazing, beautiful, phenomenal queen that's here to pour out words, knowledge, and love into us. Let's welcome Samantha to the stage. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here, excited to chat and just really lay it all on the table.
I'm honored to be in your presence, and I want to thank you for accepting to come on today. I
hmm
know you probably have a lot going on, but as soon as I saw your Instagram, and I'm like, I need my sister on.
Yes.
So, for my listeners who don't know who Samantha Liberal is, who are you and what would you say you represent?
Ooh, that's so good. Well, my name is Samantha D. Liberal. I'm formerly known as the Friendship Enthusiast, your friendship coach. I am super passionate about friendship, all facets of it, personally and professionally. I believe that we were literally placed on this earth to commingle a specific way according to God's plan, whether that's in work spaces, whether that's in business, whether that's in, in partnership, whatever that may look like. I believe that we were specifically placed on this earth to commingle a certain way. And it's our job to learn about each other enough to journey properly. So I'm super passionate about helping women build better friendships, reconcile, and even reconnect, because a lot of the people don't know how to connect in the first place, and we disengage at some point from being younger kids to growing up as adults. We've disengaged in this thing called friendship. And so for me, I'm very passionate about that and helping women in a very practical way, although I do have rooted morals that are based off of, biblical principles. I believe in God, and I'm definitely all kingdom. I do believe in practical practices and us actually getting up and doing the work and looking at things for full face value in order to journey properly. So if I had to pick something that to describe me, it would be friendship. Plain and simple.
I see it all over you. I see it all over your face. Honestly, on Instagram, I feel that energy, that welcoming friendship spirit, and
That's
I
so
fell
good
in
to
love with it.
hear.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Miami, Florida. Well, I live in Miami, Florida. Actually born in Nassau, Bahamas.
Oh,
Raised with
Bahamas.
mm-hmm, raised Haitian Bahamian. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's beautiful. I've been
Yes.
dying
I'm
to
a
go to
I'm
the
an
Bahamas.
island girl.
Island girl. I'm
Yes.
Jamaican, so you know the
Oh,
island mix gonna flow up in here today. Cause
yes. I
we're
just came from Jamaica. Like I
no
went
way.
for
How was it?
yes, I went to I got hired to do a friendship retreat over there. It was like a friendship, a girls' friendship retreat, and I was one of the workshop speakers there for the weekend. That was about 2.5 weeks ago.
That's beautiful. Cause you
Mm-hmm.
know what? We're gonna get into the topic, but you know us island girl, we have that strong personality sometimes. And I find growing up, we were never taught how to build friendships.
Yeah.
We're never, and you said it in the beginning when you're like reconnect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like culturally, we struggle with that a lot too, right?
Yes, we do. We
So,
really do.
what I want to know is why did you choose to be a friendship coach? Was that always your, like, first of all, your life's plan? Where did you start out? You know, you start elementary school, you go to high school, then you may go to college, university, or, trade or start a business. What made you decide, you know what? Me, Samantha, I'm going to be a friendship coach.
So good. So honestly, I've always been the social butterfly. I've always been like this person who's just full of life, love friendship. I value friendship on a different level. And I've run into a few people who can agree with my level of passion for friendship. But I think if we want to talk about the root cause, I would say it's because I grew up as an only child up until the age of 11. I had no siblings or anything. So when I went out into this world, my friends were my siblings. Like when
Yeah,
I went to school and I spent 8 hours a day at school, these were people that I could say was my brothers and sisters, because once I got home, I didn't have those type of connections. So I think I valued those connections outside of the home so much more because I grew up as an only child until I was 11. My mom got married. I have siblings, all these things. So then life and I realized that I still was the social butterfly. I still was the person that was always commingling. I was level-headed. People would usually come to me to diffuse fights or to kind of like, fix the room and stuff like that. So I realized just how well I managed my friendships just growing up. I would have like 5 plus 15 plus years friendship. Like my track record was always keeping friendships for a long term. And so, and not that that matters, but it played into why I became who I am. And I just remember getting saved in 2016 and just changing my life completely from being this complete like social person out there. Like I was in these streets, I was clubbing 7 days a week. I was the social butterfly, like literally. And so God just took the same attributes and characteristics that he gave me in my personality and told me, I want you to use that into helping women build better friendships. So it's Pure Friendship started off as a ministry, and then it branched off into me becoming a coach and on the business side as well, consulting. So yeah, it just kind of branched out with God just giving me instructions on what he wanted me to do. So but the heart of Pure Friendships is the Bible. The heart of Pure Friendships is God. My ministry, that's it's really to help people. I could do this and not get paid for it for another day in my life because I literally love what I do and I'm passionate about it. Um, but God has also put me in a position to, of course, have the resources and be able to help women on a greater scale. So I'm fortunate for that. Hmm.
You are literally the first friendship coach I've ever came across.
Yeah, it's very
Ever.
few of us. It's
Yes,
a
very
few of
few.
them out there, but it's very few.
And I have to say thank you for accepting your calling. Because
Yeah.
it's one thing to do it, but you accepted it wholeheartedly and you're doing it with love.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you speak about it, Sam, girl, I could see your face just like lighting up like you just met your soulmate.
Right. Yeah.
Like our purpose is a soul tie, it's our soulmate. We have to love
Hmm.
it, right? So now I'm
Hmm.
thinking about it, I'm like, all the time that I need somebody to call and be like, I don't know, maybe I got it wrong, maybe I
Hmm.
interpreted it wrong, maybe I need to take a step back. I didn't There was nobody like really there to
Hmm.
call and say that because most of the time we're connected to people who think the same way that we do.
Right.
So if I'm blowing it
Hmm.
up and I'm like, oh, that girl's crazy, why did she do this?
Hmm.
Chances are my friend's gonna fuel me and add more to the fire instead of calming me down and saying, Jen, maybe you were
Hmm.
wrong, pedal back.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you said that you grew up and you obviously being an only child, you always friends obviously become a part of your family. Did you
Hmm.
ever find yourself in situations where you were more a people pleaser when it came to friendships, and when things happened, you were more like, okay, well, I value this relationship so much, I'm not gonna let go of it?
That might I think people pleasing can come in so many different ways because it depends on how you want to please the person. I've never had that particular issue, but I've definitely heard about it through, coaching my clients and stuff like that. But I've never had an issue with letting go or knowing when it needs to end or when it needs to stop. I'm very firm. I'm very good at being honest and straightforward about how I see certain things. But I maneuver with grace. I make decisions with grace based off of that. I think people pleasing for me, because I am the friendship enthusiast, because I am a social butterfly and I meet so many people, I'm always trying to be like 10 of me. I'm trying
Yeah,
to be here, there, be there for every single person that I call friend, which can be a lot for me because I do have a lot of friends and I value each and every one of them in a special way. But can I show up to 10 events on a Saturday? No, I can't. Like it's just
yeah,
not possible. So I've found myself, maybe people pleasing, trying to be at every single thing, because I am the friendship enthusiast and I do hold a title where it's like, okay, you're the friendship person. How are you not supporting this time? And I had to really sit down and learn that, you know what? Just like I tell my clients, like you set up boundaries and you express to your friends what you can and cannot do and what you're willing and not willing to deal with. So I took that same grain of salt and I sat my behind down on certain times when I noticed I was experiencing burnout to get a rest,
yeah,
and understand that all my friends know the capacity of my job, they know the capacity of what I do and how passionate I am about it, and that they'll be understanding when I decide to say no. So the overall picture for saying no, I mean for people pleasing, is saying no for whatever that is, you know.
yeah, I agree. And I think everybody has their own meaning of friendship.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and it becomes very conflicting because you have one friend that believes that you should show up all the time if you're a good
Hmm.
friend. But then you're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I can't. I have other values. My life is moving in this direction. And I explained it to you that I can't show up, but now you're mad at me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's crazy because I usually go through the process, especially when I'm coaching clients, is I really have them define friendship and what that looks like. And one of the questions I would ask someone when when they write this beautiful list of things that they would love their friends to be, when they, have that particular friend, is if they're willing to give all of those things on day one, right? So you want someone that is trustworthy, someone that's loyal, you want someone that's going to be there to support you, whether it's mentally, emotionally, financially, like whatever this person, like what a friend is and what we define that friend is. Do you see yourself not only being that friend, but can you be that friend from day one? And I asked that question because a lot of the things that we put on our list that we want our friends to be are things that take time. They take time to develop. They take time for you to earn them and earn somebody's trust, earn a certain position and access to them. So this is why I go. And then after I ask that question, and they're like, "No, well, not the first day. It's gonna take some time." Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now that you know it takes some time, you know that there's levels. You know that there's levels to friendship, because if it takes time, that means there's levels to it. You got to go through certain stages. So understanding that an acquaintance or an associate or a close friend or a BFF are four different things, and those are four
Right.
different levels to friendship. And I tell people, once they understand the different levels of friendship, it'll be so much easier to meet people and allow them to journey with you in the space or the position or the level that they're at, and you just enjoy all the other friendships that you have. And I think we should diversify our friends as well. Everybody can't be close to us. Even Jesus didn't have all these people close to him. He had three that were the most closest. Then he had the he had the BFS, which was the three. Then he had the close 12 disciples. Then you had even more after that, which he would still call friend. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He called us friend. You get what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
there's levels to it. And I think once we have that approach and understanding of friendship, that there's levels, it won't be so black and white.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will be more friendlier, and we'll be more accepting to allowing people to come into our lives, and we'll be willing to open that door a little bit more easier when we know, hey, I don't know why you came here, but hey, if you're an acquaintance and you're just someone I meet in the lobby and you help me go through this process, maybe I'm about to interview and you're about to do something as well, and we're in the lobby just talking about something and it helps for
Mhm.
whatever reason, that's just the connection we made, and you allow it to grow. And God uses, and the thing is, we try to rob God of the process. And I don't want to go on and on. I'm gonna let you speak, but
Oh,
like,
go into that, please. Go into that. Go into that.
we try to rob God of the process that He has for us,
Yeah.
because we want things to come into our life perfectly, but we're not perfect.
Right.
So when the Bible says iron sharpens iron, it literally means that God's going to use people to sharpen you, and that also means you're going to go through some tough times. You're not going to learn everything just by reading and hearing it. Even though we read the Bible every day, we're still learning. We read scripture all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've read certain scriptures and it means something different every time, because it don't matter how many times we read it, how many times we heard it, we have to go through. We have to go through. We have to journey. We have to get on that ship. And friendship is just one of those vehicles or vessels that God uses to actually mold us into the people that we're supposed to be. And we try to rob God of that. And we say, you know what? I want my friends to be like this. And if they come in my life, if anybody come in my life and they're not like A, B, C, D, bye. I'm cutting you off. You just cut off your growth. You just
Girl,
cut off everything.
girl, speak to me. Seriously, speak to me. You're speaking to me
Mm,
because I've gone through it.
I'm
last
sure.
last year now, it's so funny because I know we scheduled for today, but
Hmm.
last night I had I have a friend, and Oh God. It's so funny that you said all of that because now I'm like, I know, like sometimes we really do try to rob the
Yeah.
whole process. We try to like undermine it. We try to throw it out. We try to not want ourselves to go through that process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
And
disobedience for
yeah.
me, oh my gosh, because growing up, and this is why I go back to when I said we want to talk about the Caribbean thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the times I would see my mom and her friends, oh my gosh, it was like a toxic relationship. You
Yes.
just came off the phone with
Yes.
your friend and you're calling another woman to gossip about her.
Yeah.
And then it was like a revolving door where you had different friends around you. You're no
Mhm.
longer friends with this lady today. Tomorrow you have a new friend. Where did she come from? She just
Right.
pops out of nowhere. You didn't even
Right.
take the time to grow with your friend, to understand her, to know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a friend and we've been friends about 5 years. And she said, I feel like you've been avoiding me
Mm-hmm.
and we need to talk. So I'm like, for the first time in my life, I was like, you know what? You're right. I have been avoiding you because I don't want to have the conversation
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not ready to, because I don't know how to say it to you without offending you or you
Right.
feel like I'm attacking you. So
Mm-hmm.
I need time to make sure that I check myself,
Mm-hmm.
go to God about my feelings and my spirit before I come to you because I may say something that could be damaging to you.
Right.
And we decided to meet up and, go out finally.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another friend that, she introduced me to, and we just stopped talking. Every time we see each other, it was like we just avoid each other like the plague with
The
no
other
real
friend. You
reason.
and the other friend?
Yeah, with
Okay.
no real reason. And I'm like, this is not like you. This is not like you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So last night I said to her, she's at your house, invite her too. It's time for that conversation
Mm.
because we forget that
Mm-hmm.
people are going through things.
Mm-hmm.
And because somebody didn't call you doesn't mean that you couldn't pick up the phone and
Mm-hmm.
call or text.
Or
But then I
text.
realized, and when I was talking to her, she's like, I really just want to apologize to you
Mm-hmm.
because you were a great friend. But I was going through a lot and I didn't realize that you were also going through a lot and we
Mm-hmm.
needed each other instead of being there for each other. We're both picking at little things. Well, you didn't call me back. Well, you didn't text me.
Right.
So we create a space for each other
Mm-hmm.
to be able to talk,
Right.
to be able to apologize and say, you know what? We both misinterpret things. And
Right.
because there was so much chaos going, family members passing away, family members falling sick,
Mm-hmm.
us not knowing how to handle it emotionally, we decided to reflect everything back onto each other, not even realizing it. And
Right.
we had so much built up anger. Where did it come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then after speaking to my other friend, she said, what is it that like I feel like you're so distant? And she says, I said to her, you know what? At some point I stopped trusting you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say you did it, like you didn't specifically do anything for me not to trust you,
Mm-hmm.
but it was your actions and
Right.
things that you said that you weren't aware of that you said it, but you said it,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing how much it was affecting me in my storm.
Right. Right.
And after we
Mm-hmm.
had that conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, God, I was trying to rob myself
Mm-hmm.
of the people
Mm-hmm.
you planted in my life so I could grow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
you had to take that time, that 6 months, that 8 months to
Mm-hmm.
get me together.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we had spoken before, I would have rejected all of this.
Right.
So it's so
Mm-hmm.
interesting that you said that because I think that we're not aware of it. And you see so many people saying, no new friends, sticking
Mm-hmm.
to their old friends. But you don't understand, God will send new people in your life because you're
Mm-hmm.
going through a season that this
Right.
new person that you're trying to block because you're all about no new friends came with something from God for you.
For you. Right. Mm-hmm.
We got to stop blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
was like a sounding alarm that you just said to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning was an awakening. Like I was like, God, I feel so much better. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
would you say? Like, as we grow up, we're children, we meet friends at school, and it's the weirdest way we connect with people and make friends when we're younger. But now
Mm-hmm.
that we get older and we're transitioning in life, we're having kids, we're getting married, we're starting our careers, we're doing things. And I find that now I'm like, my friendships are more intentional. Like the way that I
Mm-hmm.
choose my friends are intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And you said something, sometimes we'll pick at something we want to run away because, that friend doesn't have this quality that I want.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What would you say, like, as an adult now, when we're choosing our friends, how do we analyze ourselves first to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that we're not blocking things that we think is something wrong with somebody, knowing that we're all human?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say that we need to do first when we're choosing our friends and not making that mistake of blocking our own blessings?
Right. So I think the biggest thing that we can do for ourselves, and we can go back to that list that I mentioned earlier. You wrote down those things that you, these qualities and things that you want in a friend. Now, on the flip side, write the things that you want to be as a friend, because I think we're in this culture where it's very selfish. It's very selfish. It's me, how they treat me, how I'm placed, how I feel, but we never talk about how we project, how we make people feel, how we're gonna show up, right? So that same list that you can write that you want as far as your friends, flip it over and write down the things that you want to be and you need to work on
Mhm.
as a friend. And if you have no idea where to start, look at that list that you're expecting from them. Can you trust? Do you have patience? Do you have grace? Are you non judgmental? You know? And so I think working on yourself personally and really being honest, like being honest and vulnerable with who you are, where you came from, and where you're trying to go. Because a lot of us, we show up and we want to be perfect and we want to act like we got it all together, whether we got saved yesterday or not. Like we show up a certain way and we act like we got it all together. But the reality is we don't and we never will. We have not arrived.
Mhm.
It's a constant journey. You're constantly waking up every day to become a new person every single day.
Yeah.
The idea is I need to wake up and be who God called me to be today. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be the same person tomorrow.
Right.
Because if God wants to change you a week from now, that's the assignment. That's the assignment. And it's whether or not you're on time. So asking yourself at that point in time, number one, praying about why this person came into your life, because we can't just go by what we see. It's a good tool. Don't get me wrong. Pay attention to what people are doing for sure and place them properly. But don't just go based off of culture, what you heard, like all of that. Pray about it. Say, God, this person came into my life. I don't know if it's them that came to sharpen me or it's me that came to sharpen them. Because I've met people and I'm like, God, why this person came into my life? And then I end up seeing that I have to do some of the work. Like I have to help the person. And I'm like, okay, I gotta help. And that can be draining too. Let's be honest. We could be drained when we have to help somebody in a tough position. But the beauty of that, like I've found myself in situations where I helped somebody when God told me to help them and told me why they came into my life.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, when I was going through my own mess, that same person who was back up and running came back and helped me. And like that's the beauty of it, because we think that because we see people down that they could never get back up.
Yep. That's the biggest mistake we make.
Biggest. So even if you meet someone that may not fit what the look of what you're looking for or what you think a friend should be, or they're not in a certain season that you
Mhm.
think they should be in, be mindful, pray about it. Pray about why this person came into your life. When we think about the story um about Virgin Mary and how she got pregnant, like this was she was not going to be accepted in society. But
Right.
she was able to run to Elizabeth, who just who knew and understood and had heard from God already that she had to help cover her. and being able to help cover her in a time of need when the rest of the world got everything to say. Oh, you sleeping? You out here getting pregnant?
Yep.
You know, like everybody talking like you done got canceled. The culture is like really tearing you up in shreds. But then you have that one person who hears God, and they were specifically sent to help you. Now, if Mary wanted to not get help from Elizabeth, she could have, because this lady was what, twice her age.
Yep.
She
Hmm.
was older. Why I
Hmm.
gotta take? Why I gotta take advice from you? You're not even
Right?
the type
You're
of
old.
you're
Right?
not even the type of friend I would have.
Right? Hmm.
But you can't tell God who He's gonna send into your life as a friend and how He's gonna sharpen you. You can't tell God that. So I think our biggest mistake is not praying about it, not taking the time to look at our own faults and the things that we need to work on as friends, and having grace and being vulnerable. That's really what it boils down to. Sometimes you could be honest, like, hey, I don't normally let people in so soon or so quickly, but I am willing to build a friendship. I just know that it might take some time because it takes me a little bit to open up. Be honest. We have our own traumas and things that we've dealt with. Like, hey, I've gone through a lot in friendship, so it might be a little hard for me to open up, but I'm definitely praying, and I ask that you pray as well. Pray for the friendship. Pray with the people that you meet. Get vulnerable, get open.
That is like the most honest thing you could ever say right now,
Mm-hmm.
is that we lack honesty
Mm-hmm.
and we lack vulnerability.
Lack.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so sad. Like I'll tell you this, I'm oh girl, I could tell you over the last since COVID, I've definitely allowed God to have his way with me, especially when it comes to friendships and relationships. Because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand why I was so quick to just let people go. I don't care. I don't need to explain to you what you did because you did it. You knew that you did it. And I would just be quick to just let it go and detach my emotions from them,
Right.
wipe them out of my mind, out of sight,
Mm-hmm.
until God had me on my knees and said,
Mm-hmm.
it's not healthy. It's not right.
Right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you think about it, you're quick to let them out of your sight and your mind and forget them, but you were a
Mm-hmm.
strong voice in their life. Imagine what you did to them. Just like you said, analyze myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do to them?
Right.
For all
Exactly.
you know, you're thinking that they did something so traumatic to you, but they weren't aware of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're assuming and judging, right? That they just know that they did something wrong. You knew you did it.
Right. They don't be having a clue. They don't
They
even be
have
knowing
no clue. And I didn't leave much space for you to explain yourself or
to
come back to me.
explain. Mm-hmm.
And I find that as Black women, we hear so much that we can't get along. We
Yeah.
can't be friends. And I'll give you a perfect example, girl. My daughter, she has a group of friends. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it happened, but my daughter just automatically from kindergarten up until grade 4, she started grade 4. Sweetest girl. Oh my gosh, Leia's the greatest. She's such a great helper. She's such a good friend. She takes care, and she always takes care of her friends. That's something she will
Mm-hmm.
always do.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, like in the middle of grade 4, everything switched. New
Mm-hmm.
set of girls came to school. Leia's the popular girl.
Mm-hmm.
God, when the teacher said it to me, I'm like, I don't even like that word.
Mm.
I don't like it. These
Mm-hmm.
group of girls now are influencing her. And I said, but Leia, think about how, and I called the mom because like I kept getting phone calls from the school saying that these two particular girls are doing things. And I'm like, which ones? Don't say my daughter's name because this is not who I raised her to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? I know I said to the principal? I said, I got it. I'll handle it. Because what the principal wanted to do is in grade 5, separate them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're no longer allowed to be in the same classrooms. They're trying to divide them. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a solution to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I'll call the mom. The mom and I met up with the two girls and we sat them down.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter said, well, I heard that this is just how Black girls are. And I said,
Mm.
who taught you that? And she said her friend told her that. And I said, but
Mm-hmm.
who told you that? And
Mm-hmm.
her mom looked at her and said, who told you that? Where did you get that from?
Mhm.
And then I started asking her questions. I'm like, let me ask you a question. How do you feel when you say nasty things to your friend?
Mhm.
How does it make you feel saying that about her?
Mhm.
Do you value the friendship? Do you love her? So then why
Right.
would you say those words knowing how it would make her feel?
Mhm.
And I had to make them make a plan for each other.
Mhm.
When you guys are upset with each other, what are you going to do first? The first
Mhm.
that's going to come to mind, think before you speak. Think about that thing that you're about to let release out of your mouth, the damage that it could cause to her and to yourself.
Mhm.
And then also think about what she's going through. Maybe she's going through something today and you don't know. And if she said something to you don't like, you know what? Sam, I don't like what you just said. I'm going to
Mhm.
give you a break. And when you're ready to talk, we can come back together.
Right.
But these kids are using the B words and calling each other names. We got to teach them how to think before they speak.
Mhm.
And this thing where Black women can't get along and we can't do anything right and we can't be friends, we have beautiful friendships.
We do.
And I feel like you being a friendship coach, a speaker, a
Mhm.
sounding board, you are an alarm to me today.
Mhm.
It's what we
Mhm.
need to see,
Mhm.
that we're more than what they say we are.
Mhm.
And some.
Yeah.
We are phenomenal friends. And they give you when I say Black woman, funny enough, last night the waitress that was serving us, she's white. And she was explaining, oh, are you guys friends for a long time? You guys, some of you guys have been friends for years. And we're like, no, we've only been friends for 5 years, right? And she's like, oh, I
Mhm.
have friends that I've been friends with for 26 years. And my friend goes, oh, that's nice. That's wonderful. Like she was excited about it. And then she made a comment and she goes, you see, white girls, they get along. They don't have this drama. I'm like, stop it. That is
Yeah.
not true. I'm like, stop it. That's not true. But we're all different races. I'm black, and she's
Mhm.
mixed with Persian and Indian.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
think about it, we've created this space for each other that we're able to talk and not be mad at each other and call somebody else and gossip instead of just going to each other directly.
Right. Mhm.
So have you ever found yourself in those situations where people have said, why are you doing this? Black girls can't, they don't know how to have genuine friendships. They don't know how to communicate properly without yelling and gossiping and trying to tear each
Mhm.
other down.
Well, I haven't had any situations where anybody blatantly said that, but I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it's twirling in their little heads
Yeah.
about how this ain't it's not gonna work. And I think there's different types of people. There are people who just don't believe in there being good people out there. But there's a few of us that are like, "Hey, I'm a good friend." Like I use myself, my own self as my own standard. I'm like, "I know I'm a good friend." So if I exist, why wouldn't there be another person on this earth that exists with the same capacity? And I think I also run into more, thank God at this point, because in the beginning when I started my ministry back in 2018, people was looking at me like a what? A friendship what? Like what's that? And it's like what else is it? It's what does the word stand for? It's like friendship and a coach. Like
Yeah.
what I don't understand. Like people just don't get it. It's like speaking science. But when I first started, people, we were in that era of No New Friends and Drake's song had dropped and it was a
Hmm.
thing. So people didn't really see where I was coming from and where I was going with this. But I heard God very clear when he said that we're going to enter an era where friendship is going to be a major topic. Major. And sure enough, 6 years later, here we are, every other podcast, every other stream, every other topic friendship. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I think people are more receptive now to the idea. And so when they see a page like mine, it's easier for them to be like, oh my God, this is so needed. We need this. It's possible. We can change the narrative. Like we're more willed to be better friends than ever.
Yeah.
But I know in the past, and some people still have, you can't get rid of all of them. Some people still have that old trauma of, yeah, well, this ain't never gonna work. We never gonna. There's no good people. I don't have friends. Don't need friends. Don't want them. Those
Yeah.
people I can't really help. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But those who really truly believe, and those who really hope and know that they are supposed to be in a healthy circle of friends and surrounded by healthy people who believe in building, together, those are the people that I'm here for.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
have to be there for them because it's a struggle. It's a relationship, right?
Mhm.
When you think about it, how many people you see in marriages, you'll see some friends will tell them, "Oh, just leave." It's a relationship.
Mhm.
Two different people coming from two different backgrounds that are trying
Mhm.
to connect and build a relationship.
Right.
So we come with things. We come with top behaviors,
Mhm.
mentalities, different mentalities, because that's what we know.
Mhm. Yep.
Honestly, when I started watching Sisters, I'm like, I want a group of friends like that.
Mhm.
We do. We
Mhm.
have a group of friends like that. We just gotta, like you said, write down the things we want from our friends and what we want for ourselves and
Mhm.
create that friendship circle.
Mhm.
And that's something that I'm learning to do. I'm learning to be vulnerable
Yeah.
and saying when things are wrong with me and allowing myself to lean on my friends
Right.
and not without the judgment. Because I find a lot of times now, especially with us females, there's all these posts going around saying, if you're friends with one person and they're friends with somebody that you don't mess with, don't be telling them your business because they're going to be talking about it.
Hmm. Mhm.
I understand that concept, but something that I've been learning in life is that if I tell you something about me and I'm going through a hard time in my life and I'm coming to you and confiding in you and looking to you for some type of support, whatever it is, and you choose to go and talk to somebody else about it, whether it's clowning or laughing at me, that's on you.
Mhm.
I
It's on
can't,
you.
it's on you. I can't fear that.
Mhm. You can't. You cannot fear that.
So a lot of relationships are crumbling because of that. Well, you're friends with this person and I don't mess with that person anymore.
Yeah.
So
No.
now you're putting this restriction on your friend who they
Mhm.
can communicate with and who they can be friends with.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm. It's not healthy. It's not wise either.
No, it's
And
not.
again, you're getting in the way of God's plan and how He moves through us. You're getting in the way. You know, and I have a couple videos where I've talked about how to manage mutual friendship breakups. You
Hmm.
know, because that can become a tragic situation, and depending on what the reason is, of course, you have some people who are just foul out here.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to be associated with certain people based off of what they did for real, but
Yep.
if it's just y'all had a argument and y'all not seeing eye to eye about something and it has nothing to do with me, there's no reason for me to add more fuel to the fire and cut anybody else out. If anything, I can be a mediator or a bridge, because that I've done that as a friendship coach. I've done that. I've helped people who didn't talk for 5+ years become friends again. You know,
Hmm.
and I've watched mutual friends separate and come back and be friends again because I was able to have a neutral space and individualize my friendships because I'm not friends with them because of you. Like,
Right.
if and I hate when people say they're like, "Oh, I only talk to her because that's your friend." Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Don't do
Please don't
that.
talk to me. Like, talk to me because you genuinely want to talk to me, not
Right.
because you're friends with them. Now, being cordial and being friendly because you showed up to your friend's event is a different story. But if you're saying you're only carrying on a friendship with me because your friend, no, no, no. See, that's
And
that's already the problem. So I already know when stuff hit the fan, you're gonna act some type of way, you
hmm
know. And so we got to be very mindful about that as well because mutual friendships can cause a lot of division. But if we're wise and we truly have the heart of God, then we wouldn't move like that, because God is not going to stop talking to somebody else because, or stop doing or providing for another child of God because they did you wrong. That same
Right?
friend that betrayed you, God's going to bless them tomorrow.
And
I don't know
God's
if
gonna
y'all,
use them,
they're going to get used, blessed,
right?
and they're going to be covered. So I don't know what we want, but that, what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I can't. And it's so funny because even the same situation I was telling you about, it was still love, even though we weren't speaking. When she was telling me, she's going through this and she's going through that. I'm like, oh God, I need to go on my knees and pray for her, even though I haven't called her. God, I'm gonna go on my knees and pray for her tonight because there was never, you never did anything to me. We just stopped talking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a friendship coach, I know you said, you how you became a friendship coach, but has there been something that happened in your life with a friend or friendships or a group of people that really tested you,
Hmm.
and you found out that God was using that situation to just dig you deeper into your purpose? Because being a friendship coach is your purpose. You
Mm-hmm.
speaking life into friends, loving each other the way
Mm-hmm.
that God loves us, that is your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I think for me, a lot of people go through stuff before they they pivot into purpose.
Hmm.
I think what happened for me is I realized that God gave me something, and I decided that I was going to do what God told me to do, and it was my yes that caused the pivot in the new direction in my friendships. And that's when I was tested, because for me, some of us, it's easy for us to say yes to God and be like, yes, God, I'm gonna do it. You got me. I'm here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna show up. Yes, God, because
Go
it's
full
easy.
force.
Yeah, we it's easy for us to say yes. We got the yes people on board,
Yeah.
but the yes people always get tested after the yes.
Hmm.
But then you have the people that they saying no, 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 but then they go through something that makes them say yes. So it's a different dynamic. So I didn't have like bad friendships prior to this. I didn't go through this, huge friendship issue. And now I'm like big on friendship. I had amazing friendships. I had really good people in my life before I started this. But it was when I said yes and I changed the direction in which I was going to live my life. And not to say these weren't good people, it's just my life was going to be different regardless. It's different now, apparently. And so, because I made that decision, then the test came after my yes and after my decision. And that's where I noticed that I lost like over five friends of 15 plus years. I went from having a birthday dinner where I had almost 30 people at the table one year, and the next year I only had two you know and so it was a transition. I lost people along the way, and of course I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I didn't play a role, but what I did was I did what God told me to do, whether anybody else understood it or not. It was what God told me to do, and I tried my hardest to hold on. I tried my hardest to um not force what I was doing on other people, and
Hmm.
people just kind of fell off, and some people shut me out completely, and some people just kind of fell off, and it's just a cordial situation. But the dynamic of the closeness that I had before, I didn't have that after I started everything I started doing. And then of course there's grief there. I experienced a phase of grief. I think I grieved for a very long time. I didn't even know I was grieving, because we don't think we're grieving people when they're alive, but we can grieve friendships when people are alive.
Yeah.
So I grieved for a certain amount of time, and then I got to a place where I understood that God had called me for what he called me for, and that everything would work out. Everything would work out in the end. I didn't hate these people. I don't hate these people. Never did. Never have I made my platform about any of my friendship breakups. It's not about that. My passion for friendship was there before I got my friendship breakup or heartbreak. You know what I mean? So, but those pivotal moments after my yes is what allowed me and pushed me to say yes for real. Because I think I could have easily fell off if I didn't have those moments. I wouldn't have been as passionate as I am now if I didn't go through the things that I went through.
Right.
Mhm.
You said something, when you're transitioning and when your life is changing, people will fall off.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not that you are trying to make them fall off or you're pushing them away. It's just God doing things and making things happen so that everybody needs to be repositioned in our lives.
Right.
And that's the way that it is. What would you say to somebody who's going through that season in their life now where they're going through a transition, they're going through changes, they're going through, trying to figure out who they are, their
Mhm.
assignment, saying their big yes, but they
Mhm.
find that people are just falling away
Yeah.
and they are grieving.
Mhm.
What would you say to somebody that's going through that and not, because when we're going through that process and people are falling away, we're trying to think about, okay, what did I do last week? What did they do? Why are you falling away? What did I say? Did I do something wrong?
Mhm.
Why is this happening? We're trying to put together the pieces of the puzzle to try to understand why it's happening.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that's trying to puzzle it together why somebody's falling off, not realizing, hey, it's just God, repositioning people in your life?
Right. I would say number one, to trust God. I know that sounds very cliche, but really trusting Him and His plan for you. And also, one of the things I keep in the back of my mind, whenever anything changes in my life, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, a romantic relationship, whatever it may be, I always keep in the back of my mind that the healed version of me is assigned to new people. So there's a state that I'm in right now where I may have to heal something. Whatever you were prior to the sharpening, let's put it like that. Prior to being sharpened by this friendship, there's a version of you that God wanted you to be. And until you're sharpened in this area, you will not meet the people you need to meet. You won't go to the places you need to go. And so, whenever we do have a breakup or whenever something does shift, I understand that God is changing things and He's sharpening me and trying to put me in the place that I said I wanted to go. And I'm trusting that. Yes, we have instances where we might have dropped the ball, because I'm not going to say every friend you lose you were supposed to lose.
Right.
There are times where we lose friends we weren't supposed to lose, and that takes prayer and really self-awareness and really looking back at things in retrospect. But there are times where we can't explain why this person went away. We can't explain why they backed off, why they fell off. All we know is we made this decision, we went in this direction, and for some reason that person is not journeying with us anymore. And accepting that truth and trusting God's plan. Because I've had people walk away and say they're good and pop back up years later. And that's cool. You didn't understand the direction I was going in, and I get that. It wasn't for everybody to understand. It wasn't a conference call. It was my calling,
Right.
So I think trusting God's plan is the hardest thing for us to do. But if someone's not married and they're looking to be married, keeping the big picture, right? That version of yourself. You see yourself as a married woman, you don't mind losing Bozo and Bobby and Ricky, because you know that Boaz is at the end of the picture. So if you're thinking in terms of friendship, you know that I'm going to be surrounded by amazing women. I deserve to have a great sisterhood. I deserve to have people I can lean on. I'm not going to grow old and lonely by myself. I'm going to have sisters and friends and people that I can call, colleagues, connections, and things in my life. So if that means I have to shed what I have now in order to get there, God, I trust you. I trust you. And if that person's supposed to be in my life, they'll come back. I believe in reconciliation. And I always tell people that always be open to reconciliation, especially if it wasn't something egregious. Like
Right.
y'all just stopped talking. Okay. Be open for reconciliation, because they may come back later when they've healed and gone through it and they're ready to talk.
Yep. And
And,
they've gone
and
through
it'll
their
bless you.
growing process. Yep.
Yeah. And it'll
Sometimes people need
bless
to
you.
grow apart.
Hmm.
I
So
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I
That's
agree.
nice.
I agree. I think, we hear it a lot. Some people are like, well, I'm not going to be friends with that person again. I've been friends with them before and I know who they are. You don't know them. So every time somebody says, like I had a secret, somebody said to me, it was a job interview for an assistant position. My boss said to me, do you know her? I said, I knew of her
Mm-hmm.
years ago when we were friends,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a new person now because that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The
She really
person
is
she
a new
is
person.
new person now. The person she is now, I don't know.
Yep.
And I would love to get to know her because for all I know, she could be the world's greatest person. Like her heart has
Mm-hmm.
changed. She's a whole new woman. And
Mm-hmm.
we got to stop closing that door and saying, well, I remember that person from 10 years ago. They're no good. People go through things every day. We're shedding layers every day.
Every single day.
Every single day. We're, like you said, God could change you in a blink of an eye if He wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Things that we used to tolerate, things that we used to love, we no longer love it.
Yep.
Like my daughter, she used to love grapes. That was her favorite fruit. When she woke up one day and said, I don't like grapes, I'm like, what do you mean you don't like grapes? That was your favorite fruit. Like my daughter will have a tuna sandwich today, and tomorrow, I hate tuna. What do you mean you hate tuna? Leia,
Huh?
come on, the tuna. I don't like it. It just tastes funny. Did it taste funny yesterday?
But
Her
that's
taste,
how it is, though.
that's
That's how it is.
that's literally how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, today I might like wearing my hair long and weave, and then tomorrow I'm like, okay, no more weave. I just want it cut like a pixie cut forever.
Right.
We're changing, and we have to accept people's change.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be that person that blocks them out because they're changing. Now you're making it seem like something's wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And life is so interesting. Think about it. You have your children. Our children are changing. You have kids. You see them change. Their feet's
Mm-hmm.
growing. Their arms are getting longer. They start eating down the house more.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like a friendship.
Yep.
And you talked about grieving, the grieving process. I never even knew that was a thing
Mm-hmm.
until I had my first real breakup from my best friend. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here pretending like I don't miss her. I don't miss her at all.
Girl.
And inside, I was breaking
Mm-hmm.
because I missed her. I missed her voice.
Mm-hmm.
I missed us laughing and giggling and going out together. And the
Mm-hmm.
dumbest thing will happen, and I'll call her and be like, girl, just guess what happened? Guess what
Mm-hmm.
happened? I'm gonna calm down, Janelle. You know you don't want to do all of that
Right.
because she was my person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say grieving, explain the grieving process and how do we navigate through it? Like, and I know it's okay to say I'm grieving, I'm hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
sometime before I wanted to call her and be like, I know I shouldn't be calling you, but I do miss you. That's all I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say to us to like go through that process?
So the grieving process is it's a little bit more extensive, as I know I can't say it all now.
Yeah.
But and I actually have an ebook coming out that will specifically target and talk about grieving friendships that you've lost or the friendship heartbreaks. But I think the biggest thing with grief is just like anything, not being in denial and actually admitting admitting that you are heartbroken, admitting that you miss them, admitting that you were wrong, admitting that you're angry and they were wrong, but that doesn't change the love that you have for this person. I think we take our emotions based off of the moment and what we went through, and we try to live in that moment every single day until it's, like
Yeah.
until we just forget,
Yeah.
but no, you don't have to live in the pain of what went wrong. You can actually fix it, especially if the person's, and I say fix it, not meaning that you guys have to be friends again, but
Hmm.
fix it in a sense where you're not so fixated on how that person made you feel in that moment, but you find a way to understand why it happened and why they did the things that they did. And it's not to say that they won't suffer the consequences. They may never be your friend again. But I can understand that she treated me like that because she never had friends before. I've had people that's treated me horrible, and I'm like, it's because you don't even know what friendship is. You
Right.
know, you've never had friends before. So you were walking on eggshells already before I even came into your life. So things couldn't work. But I'm not gonna sit here and live in heart pain, a heartbreak, but I'm gonna look for the great things, the great lessons and what I learned in the friendship. Like what did that person bring into my life? And me being so grateful that I learned those things, that I even had that person at that moment, because that was your friend at some point in time. That was your go-to person for so many things you went through. You can't throw all that away. So I'm glad that I had you for 5 years or 6 years or however many years that is, and that you were a rock for me. You're not that anymore, but I'm not going to sit here in this sorrow and just and find me reasons to hate you and find reasons to relive why I don't want to be your friend anymore, all of those things. So, recognizing number one, that you are hurt. And I think specifically in friendship, because we are quick to say that we had a breakup with a romantic partner and we are ready to go through all the healing and the
Right.
detachment from life, and we want to go on a sabbatical because we done lost Bobby, you know what I'm saying? But when we not friends with Susan no more, oh, we just throw that out the window like it didn't matter.
Like it
We
didn't
don't
matter. There's
like we don't
nothing.
like we
It
don't
never
need nothing.
existed.
But you need to treat your friendship breakups, the ones that mean a lot to you, with real care. Because you did get scarred. You did get hurt. You did go through something. So you need to walk yourself through that grieving process like every other situation that you walked yourself through, because it's always going to be there. And the minute you meet a new friend that God sends into your life, they're going to pick at that wound that you never took the time to heal.
Never took time to heal. And then we're gonna mishandle that friendship.
Yeah. And you're going to, cycle continues. And you blame
Continues.
everybody else but yourself.
That is some hard truth, Sam. That is
Yes.
some hard truth. It's true. It does. It's a cycle. Because then
Mm-hmm.
you start asking yourself. Because I remember one time I was talking to someone. They're like, "Why do you keep attracting these types of friends?" And I'm like, "There's a wound that wasn't healed. There's a
Yeah.
wound. There's an open wound somewhere."
Mm-hmm.
So that was some hard truth.
Yes. Absolutely.
And for our listeners now that are listening, and they're probably like, "Oh my lord, you know, some should have called Keisha, and I never call her."
Call her today. Call her today.
Yeah, for the ones that want to be, we want to be hard. We want to be hard and wrong. We want to be strong and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be well, I'm not going to be the first person to call, but you know what? Sometimes we just have to be the bigger person.
You have to.
We're not perfect. We are humans learning to navigate life and go through the journey
Mm-hmm.
and our seasons.
Mm-hmm.
What's some advice you would leave for our friends that are listening, that are learning to be good friends and just be there for each other and understand that, you know what, you might have done something to me, but I get it, we're human. As long as we know that it wasn't something malicious or intentional or something that you were really trying to do to damage me, we can
Mm-hmm.
move on from this.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
would
So what I would say, and since you mentioned it on your latter statement, try to learn the seasons that your friends are in. And if you don't know what those seasons look like, ask. You know, what does it look like when you're sad? Like, how do you handle, being sad or going through a season of coldness? And what does it look like when you're winning? What do you like to do to win? How do you like to celebrate? Different things like that. Just like we would get to know a partner, we're asking all of these questions at the beginning.
mm,
Like we're getting to know folks for real, because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation we don't want to be in. But I think with our friendships, we should be a little bit more open to discussing our feelings and how we handle situations before the situations come. you know do more proactive work, as opposed to, oh, okay, we just gonna wait till something happens in the friendship and we'll deal with it then. No, ask her, get to know your friend to the point where when she's having a bad day, you can have that moment where you're like, friend, are you okay? Is it today a good day, or not? It's like, no, it's not a good day.
mm,
And then kind of go from there. And you know what season your friend is in, because once we can recognize the seasons, we know how to cover our friends. we know what clothing to be for them. I like to say, because the Bible talks about this verse, wearing people like loose clothing. And it's basically like not being attached to people a certain way, but being able to identify the type of clothing that you need in a particular season is important. So how can I cover you as a friend? Because if it's the summer, I can understand that you're hot and you want to be free, you want a little bit, you want a breath of fresh air, you want to flow. If it's a cold season for you, you want somebody, you want a hug, you want somebody to be next to you, you want to be cozy, you want to be warm, you want hot chocolate, you don't want to be outside. You know what I'm saying? You want us to be in a situation where you can chill. So really getting to know the seasons. Same thing with blossoming in the spring. It's my blossom season. My roses are coming out. The things are budding out, and it's like I need you to support me as I'm blossoming in this season. And recognizing those seasons for your friends will help you navigate things a little bit better. But having those conversations beforehand and really getting to know your friends and what those seasons look like for them is so important.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
for saying that. Really, because we spend the time understanding our own seasons. And like you said in the beginning, we want.
Mhm.
We're always the ones that are saying, "Oh, well, you affected me in this way. I don't like what you said to me," but we forget about the other person. What about their
Mhm.
season? What about what's going on in their life? It's a two-way street, right? It's not one way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. I know you mentioned that you have an ebook coming out. Ooh, I'm excited because listen, that ebook is about to blow because it's a needed ebook. It is needed in this space, in this time, in this season,
Mhm. Yeah.
especially with what's going on with social media. And you see the things that are happening with celebrities, and we're not going to go into that, but we just see what's happening in people that are friends with these
Mhm.
people and not knowing how to react to it, not knowing
Mhm.
what to say.
Mhm.
And I saw something, I cannot remember who said it. And she said, "You don't need to protect your friend. All you need to do is be there for your friend,
Mhm.
especially in a moment with all the chaos that's going on in social media right now. Just be there, be present."
Mhm.
That ebook, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to press pre-order whatever it is. So tell us more about the ebook, when it's coming out, events that you may have coming up that we can all tune into.
Mhm. Yes. So the ebook is going to be in a bundle. So I don't have the exact date yet because I don't know if I'm going to, the one about heartbreak in particular, I don't know if it's going to come out before any of the others. So I don't want to give a specific date, but definitely be on the lookout this summer and into the fall. I definitely have a few projects coming up that I would definitely love people to chime into. I have a speakers album that's coming up. That's coming out soon. Yes, that I'm literally speaking motivational speaking about
Ooh,
friendship and relationships. That's coming out, and then I am working on a short docu film about friendship as well. So we can look out for that. So many different things. I'm excited to really tap into in the friendship space, and of course the ebooks. And I do have a community. If people want to dive in, it's on my Instagram page and on Facebook. But you can go to my Instagram. It's a channel. It's called Friendly Hills 90610. And yeah, just click on that and get more in tune, and or either add your name to my friends list. That's everybody's gonna get all the stuff firsthand from the friends list.
and
Mhm.
how could they find you on social media, website, contact you if they need some friendship coaching?
Yes. So they can contact me. They can go to at Pure Friendships on Instagram or The Friendship Enthusiast on Facebook. But my website is www.purefriendships.com.
So I
Mm-hmm.
thank you for joining me. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see what else you have in stores.
Thank you so much for having me.
Guys, there you've had it. Samantha Liberal, pure friendship coach. Have you guys ever heard of a friendship coach? That was the first time that I've ever came into contact with a friendship coach. I met her on Instagram, and I really was excited to speak with her today because I'm learning how to navigate through friendships because I wasn't taught as a child. All I know is I would see my mom have her friendships. One day she's friends with this person, next day she has a new friend in her camp, and it was confusing for me. So for a while, I struggled with having healthy friendships, having healthy disagreements, not agreeing and communicate with my friends and being transparent. I struggled with that hard. I've had friendship breakups. When we see each other, we don't say hi. So over the last 3 years, God's been using me and showing me that I need to be better at building strong relationships and being transparent and honest with my friends. So having Samantha here today really opened my eyes. She was like a sounding board that rang an alarm in my head that said, hey, you're on the right path to what you're doing, and creating spaces with your friends where we can be vulnerable. We can communicate with each other about things that we don't like, things that we do want to change in our friendships, and things that we want to work on. So, guys, you have to understand that we're all human. We are human. Think about it. Your kids, when your kids are growing, they're changing. Their attitudes are changing. Their emotions are changing. They may say things that we're like, hold up, what did you just say? And who did you say it to? Me? And we have to understand that even us as humans, we do things and we don't intentionally mean to hurt anybody, but our words can come off wrong. Our actions can come off a little bit hard on people. And we have to be able to, as Samantha says, create that space. Make a list. Get a pen and paper and make a list. What does friendship mean to you? What do you want from your friends? What do you want your friendships to look like? Where do you want them to go in the future? What type of friend do you want to be? How do you want to make your friends feel? It all starts with us. If we are those friends that we want for ourselves, we got to become that friend. We got to create those spaces. We got to create those personalities, and we got to become that person. Are you that loving friend? Are you that caring friend? Are you that caring person? Are you that friend that I can call for anything? And if you're not, then how can you get mad at a friend for not giving you those things that you want from them that you're not able to give? We got to do some thinking, guys. We got to do some self-analyzation. We got to audit ourselves and make sure that we are the people that we're expecting in our life. And prayer. We got to pray about the people that enter our life. We pray about the things that we want. We pray for our family. We pray for your partner, your spouses. But are we praying about the connections that come in our life? Are we praying about the friendships? Are we praying over our friendships and saying, okay, well, God, like Samantha said, this person just came in my life. Are they right for my life? God, make me be what they need. Show me if this person's right for me, if they're the right friendship that you want for me, and I'm not just allowing somebody in my life that you didn't ordain for me. Teach me how to be a good friend for this person. Teach me how to be able to effectively communicate with my friends without hurting their feelings. Friendship is a big thing. We all have friends. We need friends in life. That's the first thing when we go to school. We make friends. When we go on there, we make friends. I remember when I first met my best friend. I went to college and I walked up to her. I saw her and I'm like, I want her to be my friend. I walked up to her and I didn't know where my classroom was. And I walked up to her and I said, hi, my name is Janelle and I'm looking for my class and I can't find it. And from that day, we've just been best friends. But guys, thank you guys for tuning in with me today. Your girl, Jen Simpson. To my new subscribers, thank you. I hope that you guys are enjoying all the videos. Thank you for the comments that I've recently seen. I am enjoying them all. You guys continue to share the videos with your friends, your loved ones, anybody that you think you could touch. Continue to comment, like, and before you leave, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe down here. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe. So you got me dancing. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment and tell me what you would like to hear me talk about, who you'd like to hear me interview next, somebody that you guys really want to touch a topic on that you're going through in your life. I'm all ears. I'm up for it. Dear guys, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you next week. Until next time, I got it right this time. I'm Jen Simpson. Bye.
Phenomenous. Cold ink.